Hey YouTube, Craig here. I had the day off today. I was messing around a little bit with my rod and reel arsenal, so I figured while I had them out, I might as well just bring it to you guys. Um, it's still a bunch of snow and ice up here, so unfortunately we can't get on the water yet, but looking forward to doing it hopefully within the next month. We're hoping to have some better weather up here in upstate New York. Uh, but without further ado, let's jump right into the rod and reels. The things I'm going to show you are only the ones I do have more than just these, but these are the ones that I rely on every single time I go fishing, no matter what. Whether space is an issue or not, I take these every single time. First up is going to be the cranking setup. This is a Gander Mountain GSX Tournament Edition rod. It's a 7-foot medium action rod paired up with a Lew's speed spool and a 5:4 to 1 gear ratio. I'll spool this up with 12-pound fluorocarbon, and this will handle every single crankbait that I have in my entire tackle box. Anything from shallow diving square bills to deep diving 5XDs, 6XDs. It'll handle everything, and I love that. Next up is going to be, this is my jig rod. This is an Abu Garcia Veritas 7-foot medium heavy, paired up with a Lew's speed spool and a 7:1 gear ratio. I'll spool this up with 15 to 17 pound fluorocarbon, depending on what I end up buying first. I'm leaning towards 17, just because I like that thicker diameter when I'm fishing deeper jigs, and it'll also allow me to flip with some half ounce light flipping jigs and things of that nature. But that's primarily the jig setup. Next up is the beef stick. This is my topwater frogging and flipping rod. This is an Abu Garcia Vendetta 7'3" heavy action, paired up with a Lew's speed spool and a 7:1 gear ratio. I'll put 30-pound braid on this. I know a lot of people frog with 50 or higher braid. I just like the 50-pound braid or the 30-pound braid, excuse me, just because it allows me to throw the lighter frogs a lot farther, and I like the workability of 30-pound braid. Plus, it allows me to get more on the spool, so I don't have to worry about throwing right to the knot if I'm throwing heavy frogs or anything like that. But this is the frogging and flipping setup. Next up is probably one of the most versatile rods in my lineup. This is an Abu Garcia Veritas 7-foot medium heavy action rod. This is a Lew's Laser MG 7:1 gear ratio. I'll spool this up with 15-pound mono. Primarily, what I'll use this setup for is soft jerk baits like flukes, skinny dippers, things like that. And the 15-pound mono also allows me to throw this setup for buzz baits, and I do like throwing buzz baits as search baits. So primarily that's what it's used for, but I can also throw a lot of different things with it. It's a really versatile rod and reel, but mainly it's a jerk bait, soft jerk bait, and a buzz bait setup. Next up is my spinnerbait setup. This is an Abu Garcia Veritas 7-foot medium heavy action rod, a Lew's speed spool and a 6:4 to 1 gear ratio. I'll spool this up with 12 to 14 pound fluorocarbon, and this will handle all my spinner baits and my rattle traps, depending on the weather, overcast, things of that nature. But this will primarily be used for that setup. Next up is probably one of my more favorite ways to fish, and that's a hard jerkbait. This is an Abu Garcia Vengeance 7-foot medium action rod, paired up with a Lew's speed spool and a 6:4 to 1 gear ratio. I'll use this. I'll spool that up with 10-pound fluorocarbon, and I'll use this for primarily my hard jerkbait setup. I love throwing a hard jerkbait. The McSticks, X-Wraps. Absolutely love throwing those all year round. You can throw them numerous different ways. You can work them differently. It's a killer setup, and it's a great way to fish. I love throwing jerkbaits, but that's primarily my jerkbait setup. I'll always have a jerkbait tied onto there. I can't throw other things, but with a lighter line, that's I'll primarily throw jerkbaits with that. And the last setup that I take with me no matter what is only one spinning setup. And this will handle every application I throw. I don't throw a lot of spinning applications, but this handles every one that I throw. This is an Abu Garcia Vengeance 6'6" medium action rod. This is an Abu Garcia Cardinal SX10. It's the smallest in the Cardinal lineup, but I just like the compact size. It still holds plenty of line. Right now I have that spooled up with Berkley Fireline 10-pound braid. And I go straight to the lure with braid. The only time I won't do that is if I'm throwing a drop shot, which is very, very seldom. I'm not a huge fan of drop shot. I prefer a shaky head. And I'll throw lighter jerk baits, like 1/4 ounce jerk baits, as well as some like tubes, like smaller tubes, like 2 3/4 inch tubes, 3-inch tubes. The smaller tubes, if I want to like flip them into some lighter cover, I'll use that, and I'll go right to the lure with braid. But that's really the only spinning setup that I'll carry, and it handles all those applications. And that is the rod and reel arsenal for the 2014 season. I do have to throw a little bit of a shout out. My little brother actually has a YouTube channel. His name's Corey Preshaw. Check him out. He does a lot of unboxings. We both put in quite a few orders for Tackle Warehouse. He does a lot of unboxings. I have one coming tomorrow, so stay tuned. I'll probably try an unboxing video with that. What his strengths are usually my weaknesses, and probably my strengths are a little bit of his weaknesses. I shouldn't say weaknesses for him because he's a phenomenal fisherman. I learn a lot from that kid. He's actually kind of got me into it more in the last few years than anything. But go check him out. Definitely subscribe to him. He's going to teach you a lot. I know he has me. So stay tuned. I'm going to have some more tackle videos coming up. Maybe some unboxings. Some more technique specific videos as well. Stay tuned for those, please. If you guys like the video, comment, rate, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And definitely stay tuned for some more fishing videos. Thanks, guys.